At the time of this interview, my primitive recording gear, my smartphone mic, could not handle all the background noise, so I'll summarize what Tam and Sandy shared with me while they delivered home meals and supplies for the outdoor food pantries. Initially, Rocky Ridge had no official name for their community ministry. Then, some years ago, Pastor Tam Wensil's son, Thomas, participated in the World Race and Adventures in Missions program, by which he served with local missions in 12 countries in 12 months. Throughout that journey, Thomas was always wearing his bright neon green shoes. During a Rocky Ridge Sunday service, the church member sharing the children's message told the children that Jesus' followers need to be like Thomas out there in the world, serving our neighbors in bright green shoes. And that's how Rocky Ridge's community ministry later became known as the Green Shoe Ministry. So Sandy and Tam had asked a police officer about effective ways their church might help homeless people. The officer suggested giving gift cards to police stations so officers can help displaced and homeless families with hotel stays and groceries. He also mentioned some homeless people need valid personal IDs. So Rocky Ridge's Green Shoe Ministry supports a local agency called Opportunity House with surplus food, and they plan to help provide official IDs for homeless people so they can receive other services and apply for jobs and transitional housing. Now, Opportunity House is not an overnight shelter, but it does serve homeless people with weekday lunches, laundry facilities, showers, bins for personal storage, a clothing closet and a food pantry, hygiene kits, computers for job searches, and a once-weekly evening meal, along with a worship service. Now, typically, many services like Opportunity House are not open on the weekends, so Rocky Ridge and other churches recognize that they can help homeless and poor neighbors get through the weekends with basic provisions. The only year-round overnight homeless shelter in Concord, North Carolina is the Salvation Army Center of Hope, which serves individuals and families for up to 90 days, providing overnight shelter, day counseling, and vocational services. CCM, Cooperative Christian Ministry, provides housing assistance and crisis management in the Cabarrus County area, and in dangerously cold winter weather, Cabarrus County Emergency Management may coordinate and open additional short-term shelters, one usually at the Concord Active Living Center. Tam said that most people who use the outdoor food pantries take only what they need, but there are some individuals who occasionally take all the food supplies from the pantry for themselves. That's just a human flaw and practical weakness in that type of ministry, but at least people are still helped to fill in the gaps between other available food ministries. Something that has struck me over my years in ministry is how some people still use Jesus' statement that we will always have the poor among us as an excuse to look the other way and do little or nothing to help. Jesus simply stated a sad truth about our self-centered human nature and our fractured, fearful society. But his example, his love, his teachings and commandments call us to wise and daring compassion with effective sacrificial love, not the warm, fuzzy convenience of occasional good works that help us feel good about ourselves. Thankfully, many Christians still live by Jesus' parable about the Samaritan outsider who was the only neighbor who rescued a helpless person that the world said was his social, political, and religious enemy. Rocky Ridge Church is just one example of hundreds of thousands of churches across the United States that for many decades have been serving transient and local homeless and poor neighbors, meeting immediate needs while supporting other programs and agencies that help people transition from homeless to housed and stable members of a community. For soul-deep mental health and or addiction challenges, there are people who are unwilling or unable to accept constructive help and better options. But there are many more people who long for a better future path right now. With all the agencies and broad-based programs that can help and are helping, there are still immediate and long-term needs and relationships that only good neighbors can address with people who have their own unique challenges, hopes, and possibilities. It is very easy for us to categorize and package them into our boxes, but we should remember our shared humanity means no box fits perfectly. No person ultimately fits neatly or completely into the boxes where we pack and hide them out of sight for our own ease and comfort. My main question, or one of my main questions in this journey and behind these videos, is when it comes to homeless and poor families, homeless teenagers and kids, the working poor, the chronically unstable, and the addict, how can we help in ways that actually help, ways that actually address needs now and promote effective services and strategies for the future? Basically, what is working and what is not working in addressing homelessness, facilitating transitions to permanent housing, and establishing sustainable, affordable housing in economically and ethnically mixed communities. Homelessness, hunger, and poverty impact all aspects of our society, and how we tackle the issues impacts human lives, along with our deeply held values of freedom, personal and property rights, private and public property, equal opportunity and equal access to resources and commerce, and standards of personal and social health, safety, and welfare. Through it all, I hope we keep in mind and practice the unique worth of each person and our shared humanity, and how no box fits. So every person and situation deserves someone else's time, care, and attention, and the relationships that weave us into a community for the long haul. Last time I checked, that is what Jesus taught, practiced, and established by his own sacrifice for our forgiveness, our salvation, and new birth from this world's fallen status quo into a new community formed for today and for eternity. So yeah, I hope my Van Journer trek helps share how sisters and brothers in Christ are serving neighbors effectively and spiritually in practical love, and how churches can partner with other churches and charitable agencies far more than we are, and still do much more to help our homeless, hungry, and poor neighbors in ways other agencies cannot. All along the way, no matter who we meet, no matter what their situation, I hope to remember that no box fits, and we still share much in common.